Hey soulmates, welcome back to the pod. I'm Isai and I'm your host for Soul Sessions. So today we're starting with something very personal. I'm going to share with you the life lessons that I learned the hard way. So ito yung mga aral na hindi mo makukuha sa seminars, sa libro, pero instead sa totoong buhay. Ito yung mga pagkakamali sa moments na gusto mong balikan, pero kahit anong gawin mo, hindi mo na sila mababalikan. But you still carry them with you, pero now as wisdom. So, if it's your first time here, welcome. You're safe here. And maybe in these stories, you'll find a piece of your own healing too. So come on in. Together, let's hold ourselves gently through the process. So the first life lesson that I wanted to share with you is listen to your elders. Gas-gas na to. We hear this a lot when we were younger. Pero it makes sense. Alam mo, I've always been the type na mabait, masunurin, with good intentions. And I thought that was enough. I thought if I come with a pure heart, pure things will happen. Pero I realized dun pala ako tinatry i-save ng elders namin. Kasi life doesn't always work that way. I used to hear my elders warn me about certain people, certain choices, but it's not like I ignored them because nagre-rebelde ako. Hindi. I just didn't understand. I was naive, I was innocent to a fault, and of course, I had no blueprint for the kind of consequences that they were trying to save me from. And then one day, it hit really hard. I got pregnant at the age of 17. And suddenly, all the good things that made me the good girl before, yung kindness ko, sincerity, yung dreams ko, parang nawalan ng saysay sa mata ng ibang tao. I lost friends I thought were real to me. People talked, people judged, and it felt like one mistake talaga na erase lahat ng nagawa ko. So I told myself I wish I listened. Not because I wanted to be controlled, but because I didn't know what I didn't know. And our elders, they carry stories we haven't lived yet. They've seen patterns we can't recognize habang andun pa tayo sa loob ng cycle na yun. Ang lola ko, I could still remember, may mga panahon paulit-ulit na paalala. You have to choose your friends wisely. You have to choose well kung sino yung mga taong ipapapasukin mo sa buhay mo. And in my mind, I would think, ay, pero mabait naman sila sa akin. Pero what I didn't see was the long game. Kasi she knew red flags before I saw them. In different people, different decades, pero same patterns and same wounds. Even psychology nga would back this up kasi our prefrontal cortex, part ng brain natin, which is able to assess the consequences of our actions, isn't fully developed until age 25. Can you believe that? Kaya it really pays to listen to the guidance. That means young people literally don't see the full picture yet. Okay? With science explaining the why, okay, it still cannot excuse us from the consequences and the impact of our actions. Kasi our brain may not be fully formed yet, but our choices, of course, will still ripple to reality. Siyempre, sa Bible, this is supported as well. It says, listen to your father's instructions and do not forsake your mother's teachings. Kasi, totoo nga naman, there is a divine design in generational wisdom. Kasi God doesn't place our elders ahead of us to limit us. He places them there to protect us. And, alam niyo yung grace? Even when we don't listen, He still doesn't abandon us. He uses even our pain and He will meet us there. May mga pagkakataon na habang umiiyak ako sa kwarto, naririnig ko pa rin yung boses ng mga elders namin sa ulo ko. Not in anger, pero more of in love. Saying na, anak, sinabi ko na sa'yo eh. I think it's grief for them as well. Kasi it's pain because they wanted to spare us from it. Diba? Sometimes we really have to touch the fire para maramdaman yung init. Tigas talaga ulo natin minsan eh. So, to my soulmates, if someone older than you is trying to speak into your life, please pause. Okay? Hindi lahat ng advice para pumasok sa isang tenga tapos lumabas na naman sa kabila. Kasi some advice is there to save you from a detour that will cost years, tears, or even parts of yourself. You don't have to learn everything the hard way. So let their stories guide your steps. So for lesson number 2, learn to forgive yourself because you are not your worst moment. I used to think that way because I made a mistake. Of course, ako yung may kasalanan. Then, ako yung kailangan patawarin. Not realizing, ako rin pala, kailangan kong patawarin yung sarili ko. At first, hindi ko na-realize na I was carrying so much guilt. Akala ko, it's normal na I needed to prove myself again to make up for the wrong things I've done, to fix what I broke. Kaya kahit tapos na yung issue or yung nangyaring maling nagawa ko, I was still overcompensating. Sobra kong pilit maging good. Sobra kong gustong bumawi. Sobra kong gustong ipakita sa mundo that I am better now. That I am good now. Kasi iniisip nila, masama na akong tao kasi nagkamali ako. Pero deep down, I was not trying to do it pala from a healing standpoint, pero I was doing it from guilt, from shame. Psychologically, this is common and it's called self-punishment behavior. It is when we unconsciously punish ourselves even after the situation has passed already. Why? Kasi feeling natin we don't deserve peace yet. We don't deserve joy yet. We haven't earned the forgiveness, not even from ourselves. So forgiving yourself doesn't mean you're excusing what you did. It doesn't mean you're saying, okay lang yung nangyari. Ang ibig sabihin lang nun, ina-acknowledge mo na tao ka, natuto ka, at karapat dapat kang mabuhay ulit ng buo. Hindi bit-bit yung buong bigat ng past mistakes mo. Spiritually, forgiveness is at the heart of the gospel. It says, as far as the east is from the west, so far He has removed our sins from us. If God, who knows everything, your thoughts, your heart, your mistakes, can still forgive you, bakit ikaw hindi mo pa kayang patawarin ang sarili mo? Diba? And maybe this is your sign today. Maybe kailangan mo nang aminin sa sarili mo na yes, I messed up, but that is not who I am forever. Because if God still sees you with grace, maybe you can start seeing yourself with softness too. Okay? So let me tell you this, soulmate. You don't have to punish yourself just to prove that you've changed. Okay? Sometimes, the biggest proof of growth is when you stop shaming yourself and start holding yourself with gentleness. Yung tipong instead of replaying what went wrong, you start reflecting on what you learned. Diba? So if you're listening right now and may dala kang bigat, isang pagkakamali na paulit-ulit mong pinapasan, this is your permission to finally breathe. Be honest na nasaktan ka, nakasakit ka, na nanghihinayang ka, na sana hindi mo na lang ginawa. And then remind yourself, kahit hindi mo na mabago yung nangyari, pwede mo pa ring baguhin ang direksyon mo ngayon. You are always welcome to begin again. You are worth of a second chance. And no, you don't need to carry the guilt to prove that you've grown. So take that first step. Speak kindly to yourself and remember you're not your worst decision. You're the whole person who's still trying, still showing up, and still choosing to be better. And that, I think it's beautiful. The third life lesson, there is no timeline. Forward is forward. Okay, so soulmate, may tanong ako. Have you ever looked around and suddenly felt like you are falling behind? Diba? Like, you open your feed, scroll through stories, tap through updates, and suddenly, ang daming may bagong kotse. Ang dami may bagong business, bagong engage, bagong baby, bagong passport stamp. Habang ikaw nandito ka pa rin. Gumigising, nagtatrabaho, trying to keep it together. And you whisper to yourself, bakit parang ako na lang yung hindi umaandar? Feeling kotse yan. Pero ako, I felt that many times. There was a season in my life na I was doing my best. Talagang I was healing, I was unlearning, I was working hard, pero parang ang bagal pa rin ng progress ko. Yung tipong may nangyayari ba talaga? Kasi habang lahat may milestones, ako, ito overthinking lang. Lahat may celebration, ako ito silent breakdown lang. And what made it even worse was the feeling that I should be further along. That at this age, I should have accomplished more. That I should not be feeling this lost. Pero you know what I realized? I realized that the biggest thief of peace is comparison. And the deadliest pressure comes from invisible timelines. Pero soulmate, iba-iba tayo ng pacing. And more importantly, iba-iba tayo ng laban. I'd like to tell you this, you are not behind, you are becoming. Yung healing mo, valid yan. Kahit wala pang nakakakita. Yung progress mo, totoo din yan. Kahit walang trophy. Yung pagbangon mo araw-araw kahit pagod ka na, that's sacred. And don't let society or social media make you feel like slow means small. Kasi hindi lahat ng growth visible. Hindi lahat ng victory may audience. Let me tell you a short story from the Bible about the mustard seed. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus says, the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, the smallest of all the seeds. But when it grows, it becomes the largest of garden plants and even becomes a tree where birds can perch. Ang galing, no? Kasi parang tayo yun. Some of us feel like mustard seeds. Ang liit, parang walang dating, parang hindi significant. But what people don't see is what's happening underneath. Deep inside, the roots are forming quietly, patiently, until one day it blooms. That's your story too. Forward is forward, soulmate. Kahit paunti-unti, kahit may araw na parang wala kang gana or walang nangyari, kahit may gabi na umiiyak ka na lang sa sobrang pagod or hindi mo naintindihan ano nangyayari sa buhay mo or where you are at in your life. And if you feel stuck because others are moving ahead, maybe it's time to redefine what success looks like for you. Success isn't a race kasi it's more of like a rhythm. Kaya don't beat yourself for not being where you thought you'd be. Maybe the detour is the destination. Maybe the waiting is the preparing. So let me be honest with you, soulmate. There was a time I felt like I had to reply to every friend, be present in every group chat, answer every message right away kasi natatakot ako na baka mawala ako sa circle, magka-gap kami. I was scared na mawawalan kami ng connection. Na baka ako na lang yung hindi invited, hindi updated, hindi belong. So, kahit pagod ako, I'd show up, I'd force energy, I'd stay connected pero disconnected from myself. And that's when I realized that this is not growth. This is guilt. I was operating from a place of guilt for the longest time. Kasi real growth is not about being everywhere or proving yourself to everyone. Real growth is honoring your pace and trusting that those who truly love you will understand. So if you're listening right now and you feel like you're falling behind, this is your reminder. You're not late to your own life. Okay? Healing is not linear. Dreams take time. Peace takes practice. You don't have to explain your timeline to anyone. You just have to live it with truth. So keep going, one step, one breath, one brave choice at a time. Because forward is forward. And you, soulmate, you're on your way. So the fifth and last life lesson I wanted to share with you is invite divine intervention in your life. Alam mo yung point sa life na parang wala ka ng hawak. Yung kahit anong galing mo, kahit anong plano mo, kahit anong pagod mo, parang wala pa rin nangyayari. Or worse, things just keep falling apart. Minsan parang mapapa, Lord, ano na ba talaga? And let's be real, most of us learn to pray harder kapag tapos gumuho na yung lahat. Kapag wala ka ng malalapitan, kapag wala ka ng ibang choice, it's like crisis really brings us to our knees. Pero what I've learned, and what I'm still learning, is that we shouldn't just trust God like a fire extinguisher na nandyan lang kapag may emergency. That we shouldn't just invite divine intervention when we are bleeding, but also when we're breathing. Kasi what if the very reason we feel lost is because we've waited too long to ask for His guidance? There were really seasons in my life na sobrang driven ko. As in, kaya ko to. I'm using my heart and my mind. Talagang lahat ng meron ako. Pero kahit anong gawin ko, hindi umaabot. And worse, things just started to crumble down. Naisip ko, nakalimutan ko si Lord. Not because I did not believe in Him, but because I thought I didn't need to include Him in the little things in my life. Sakit isipin, pero totoo. We only remember Him when we're hurting. And yet the beautiful thing about Him is that never siyang magtatampo. Kahit nakalimot tayo, hindi siya nawawala. Diba? In the Bible, it says, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted, and He rescues those whose spirits are crushed. Hindi niya hinihintay na maging okay ka muna bago kanya samahan. Actually, sa pinakawasak mong moments, nandun siya. But also, He's inviting. Inviting us to let Him in, inviting us to talk to Him. Not just when we are in a crisis, but even during our ordinary days. Even when we think we're okay or walang problema. Kasi it's a relationship and not an emergency service. Okay? Pero, another story na naman, another thing na naman, yung kapag may faith ka na, you keep doing all the right things. You pray, you trust Him, pero still, dumadaan ka pa rin sa sakit. Parang feeling mo walang nangyayari. Parang, Lord, I did everything right. Nagdasal ako, nagtitiwala ako sa'yo. Pero parang hindi naman nagbabago yung buhay ko. That's where a lot of people start to lose faith. Kasi akala natin, faith is like a magic formula na God will make your life smooth. But the truth is, faith doesn't promise a painless life. It promises presence. Kahit hindi mo maiintindihan, kahit hindi mo nakikita, hindi ka nag-iisa. Psychologically, our brain is wired to seek control. Gusto natin ng logic, ng step-by-step solution to our problems. Pero when life breaks that illusion, when we face uncertainty, death, betrayal, our anxiety spikes up. Okay? That's why faith feels irrational in times of pain kasi gusto ng utak natin ng sagot. Pero faith invites us to trust even without one. And sobrang hirap nun, honestly. Pero doon ko rin nakita yung totoong peace, yung malalim na klase ng peace. Hindi yung peace dahil solved na lahat ng problema ko, kundi yung peace kahit nasa gitna ng gulo. Yung kind of peace na hindi mo makukuha sa tao, sa pera, sa success, kung hindi sa presence lang ni Lord. And that is the kind of divine intervention I'm learning to invite in my life every day. Not just when I'm broken, but even when I am starting to build. Not just when I am falling apart, but even when things are starting to fall into place. So, if you're in a place right now na feeling mo hindi gumagalaw ang buhay mo, or maybe you've been faithful, but you're still facing battles, this is for you. Okay? Don't give up on your faith just because you are in a fight. Your pain is not a proof that God has left. Sometimes it's a proof that He's working something deeper, something inside of you. Okay? So invite Him in. Kahit hindi mo maramdaman, kahit hindi mo maintindihan, talk to Him. Open your heart and tell Him, Lord, di ko to gets. Pero magtitiwala ako sa'yo. And if you haven't talk to Him yet, you can start today. Hindi mo kailangan maging okay bago ka lumapit. Okay? Hindi mo kailangan ng maganda or perfect na prayer para pakinggan ka niya. You just have to be yourself in His presence. Sabi nga sa Revelation, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in. So God is not looking for a perfect faith. He's looking for an open heart. So let Him in, not just in crisis, but in your daily life. Alright, so I think that's it for today. I'd like to thank you for sitting with me, for letting these lessons speak to your heart too. I know sometimes it's difficult to accept that the best lessons would really come from pain. Pero kung may natutunan ka, if something inside you softened today, I'd like to believe that this episode was worth it. So always remember, you're not alone in your process, and we're all just figuring things out. One step at a time, one lesson at a time. Okay? So again, this is Soul Sessions, where we hold ourselves gently through the process. I'm Isai, and I'll be right here every step of your healing. So I'll meet you again next time. Please be kind to yourself. Bye-bye.